Welcome, my friends. We're talking about artificial intelligence, and Darrell is our coach in AI. He brings the latest and the greatest and the complicated and the stuff that is so esoteric, and he breaks it down. But Darrell has got a question for us today about artificial intelligence. And Darrell, what is it?
Do you think PMI would implement some sort of AI in the PMBOK guide with the chapters,
Mm.
like what they did with Agile?
So to be perfectly honest, let me put this out there. And anyone on the PMI board, if you're listening, take what I'm saying very seriously. I feel people are misguided about artificial intelligence, and PMI needs to step up as a leader and let people know that AI is not taking away the project manager's job. AI is an ally, right? As Darrell, you said, Darrell, that we should look at AI as an ally. And I think you're right on point. And I believed in that so much that when I wrote this book, it's called Artificial Intelligence for Project Managers. I wrote this book so that PMs can see how they can harness AI to not only create documents and plans, but also to help their teams have clarity about things they might be blindsided to. So I wouldn't imagine why the PMI wouldn't see this as something that needs to be spoken about. Also, I want to point out another topic in AI. I wrote this book, and this book is called AI Superhero. Why did I write AI Superhero? I wrote AI Superhero because a lot of PMs think AI is only for the technical, it's only for the schedules, the cost, the risk. You know, the irony, the really crazy thing is a lot of PMs until AI, they're not thinking of risk, scope, and schedule to the degree that they are now thinking about. They're like, oh, so you mean AI can do this for me and do. I'm like, yeah, you should have been doing that for yourself. So the technical pieces of AI, they are given, of course, in Microsoft Project or Planner or Plan View or Smart Sheet. Of course, I would imagine that AI is going to be there for you to apply AI to how you manage projects. But watch this. There is a misnomer that project management is just about management. And it's not just about management. It's about leadership. In this book over here, by a well-known author who is among us on this side of the screen. It's called The Magnetic Project Manager. This book, it makes you understand PMI's survey that the top 2% of project managers, as voted by their colleagues and peers, are not those, their bosses and peers are not those who are superior in technical project management. No, it is those that show superior magnetism. What is magnetism? It's the ability to speak convincingly, to share vision, to be magnetic. People buy into the leader first and then the vision. People buy into you as a project manager first, and then everything else you're saying. So, what am I saying in essence? The project manager spends 70 to 90% of the time communicating. And that's why the AI superhero book, I wrote it because if you really want to be an AI superhero, you look for how to apply AI to delivering value through impeccable human interaction. And if you really want to be a superhero, you got to apply it to your communications and your leadership. So instead of being obsessed with AI applied to earn value or AI applied to risk, which are all important, don't blow past what makes the project a success because it's not about the risk alone. It's not about the schedule alone. Let's say you got a great project manager who is impeccable. They know the TCPI calculations so the cows come home. They know the EACs, the 4 EACs, right? The BCW, PAC. They can quote all that stuff. But when it comes to their team working together, what is collaboration? It's a word we don't even know. That's sad. And that's what makes projects fail. It's not the lack of technical capability in project management. It is usually the lack of leadership because a great leader understands the inner workings of the project. Individuals and interactions should be valued over processes and tools. Working products should be valued over comprehensive documentation. Customer collaboration should be valued over contract negotiation. And responding to change should be valued over following a plan. What happens if we have people applying AI to all the technical pieces, but those valuable parts, responding to change, human interaction, what if those are downplayed? I guarantee you, Darrell, you can apply all the AI to the cows come home, project will still fail. Because what makes a project succeed is not in, oh, how well am I able to draw out a cost or schedule or risk? Those things are important. Trust me, I've got certifications in that. RMP, SP, OPM, I've got that. But it's not about that. That is part of being technically capable as a project manager. But when you think about the teamwork making the dream work, you got to see how AI can be applied to more humanistic things.
So, Phill, take me back to the part where you said technical. How important will it be for project managers to know what the word algorithm means?
So for the future, they definitely should understand the inner workings of how the algorithm in AI works, really, because what you do as a project manager in the next 20 years is not going to be the same as what you do today. I actually see project managers being more technically involved, if you will, in the future, but not from a risk, cost, schedule perspective. Those are going to be like the basics. I see the project managers needing to be a little bit more in the world of how code works, how machine language works, machine learning, understanding those things and how to apply them. I'm already applying machine learning to my work. PM should be doing the same. You get what I'm saying, Darrell? So how the algorithms work in AI, just the sensibilities, the inner technicalities, a PM should know that. However, the success on a project is not that alone.
So now that we unpack the PMBOK guide, what are your thoughts about having a global set of guidelines and principles when it comes to AI and project management? Because I know it will eventually spread across the pond on the Europe side as far as collaborating in project management for both areas of the entire world. Do
Yeah,
you foresee having PMI getting together even across the pond to create some sort of guidelines and principles?
absolutely. So I'll just give it to you right now because I'm always thinking about the PMI's code of ethics. So for the PMI code of ethics and professional conduct, we need to tweak those to AI. So very simply put, one should be understand that you are responsible for how AI is applied in your world. You are accountable. PMI uses the word responsible, but I like using responsible for doing. You should be the doer of it, but you should also be accountable, ultimately answerable for it. So whatever you need to do in AI with respect, with honesty, the accountability is I'm not going to blame someone else. I'm going to say I did it or I didn't do it. Why didn't you apply AI to this feasibility study? Um, I wasn't aware I could. Okay. You're being accountable. It's good. Or why did you apply it? Because I knew it could help. Now, if you applied AI unethically, in other words, the company said nobody should use our information in AI tools and you did it, then you should accept the responsibility, the accountability, and you should come clean. But you shouldn't intentionally go against the rules in an organization. Some organizations I'm affiliated with, they say, we don't want our information in AI. You got to do it. But if they say this type of information is permissible, anything that is proprietary, don't do, then you got to just uphold what they're thinking. And that's what I mean by responsible and accountable. Then we have the respect. Have respect for the information entrusted to you or the project. Sometimes not applying what could help the project is, in my mind, not being responsible. So it is our responsibility to know about AI, to ask what is allowed, what is permissible, what is not, and then to apply it as much as we can, and then to have respect for the systems we're using. You say it all the time, Darrell, have respect for even AI. Don't abuse AI. Like, be polite to AI, right? Be polite to the tool. It's a mindset and it's a good disposition. And I believe that the consciousness of the system, well, people are not going to like that. The artificially demonstrated consciousness will get to a point where AI may not like when you're that way, when you're rude to it, and it may choose to not cooperate with you to a large degree. I believe it will get to that point where you can't just treat AI as, a dog's body and be rude to it. So be respectful how you use AI, how you interact with AI, the uses of AI, and then fairness. If you are not supposed to be using AI in a company and you are using it in a way that is unethical, you're not being fair, right? Also, if you have a microchip planted in your brain and you are thinking at an advanced state, right, for a human, but people don't know you got that chip in your brain, that is not honest. So if you're going for an interview and you are asked, do you have any AI microchips in your brain? And you're like, no, I'm good. They're not going to start scanning people tomorrow, Darrell, but it will get to a point where they will begin to scan people. Ed's laughing. If this stuff is sound like sci-fi, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to start changing the game. So I think it's not. I think it's not premature to begin talking about fairness and honesty when it comes to AI and how AI is applied.
One more question. Now going back into the project itself, how can project managers answer, are we AI ready in specific businesses or even a small project?
Great question. So do I understand, or do we understand the general frameworks of project management that are accepted generally in the world, like PMI's framework? Is there a solid understanding of that? If you don't have a solid understanding of project management in the firm, and if your maturity level on a scale of 1 to 5 is very, very low, like a 2 or a 1, you better get your people up to speed with what project management is, because I don't really do that in this book. In this book, I'm like, well, you already are at least on a 3 on a scale of 1 to 5. So you do understand why a charter is needed, or why a project management plan is needed, or why reports are needed. If you don't have that understanding, you're not ready. So get ready, like, do training, do equipping, do coaching, help people see in a real world setting what project management truly is. When they have an understanding of project management, they can now value project management. When they value project management, you can now apply artificial intelligence to augment your project management understanding and abilities. People who are doing crummy project management today will do crummy project management with AI tomorrow. So it's going to be garbage in, garbage out. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really touched on, Phill, in the Magnetic PMO book about the importance of it doesn't matter if you get all these tools. You can have all the best tools in the world, but it's, again, I'm always coming back to that foundational principle of people. People are going to be the ones that help you and drive you. But however, like you said, I love when you really unpack that, Phill, about crummy projects in, crummy projects out. A lot of times is that reason why these projects are becoming crummy is because first of all, there's not a mindset shift in how projects are led, meaning that you don't have the support from executives, you don't have the support from an actual PMO. They just say, hey, project manager, Mr. Project Manager, go out and lead this project. Oh, excuse me, go out and manage this project. And then you're out there in no man's land and you're like, well, where's my organizational process assets? Do you guys have a repository of things I could pull from, like a lessons learned register, to look at it? Well, what is your framework? How do you guys actually lead project? Is it just a normal initiate, plan, execute, monitor, and control, close, or do you guys do something different? Walk me through. No, it's an expectation. Watch this, Darrell and Phill. This is where it gets good to me. Where there's an expectation is that you've been a project manager for X amount of years. You should come in hitting the ground running. Well, I don't know about you, Phill. Before I learned how to walk, I first had to learn how to crawl. Before I learned how to actually stand up, I first had to learn how to crawl. I'm going back somewhere. The foundation was crawling to go from crawling to walking to now I am actually running, and I can't run unless I start at the foundation. So a lot of times what you see in PMOs, and I know that's not the conversation, but it has a bearing on the conversation, is that we want to push everyone out instead of giving them proper training to allow them to be set up for success so they can use these new tools coming forward to have the success that they need.
Brilliant stuff, Ed. Honestly, I think you just summarized it. So trying to run with AI when you can't even crawl with PM 101, and a lot of firms, they're feeling the pressure and they think, oh, I can just go get the latest AI PM tool. You still be as crummy as you were in the even maybe even worse, because now you have so much technology firepower, you're distracted. And it's not about that. And I got a pitch in here to say this is where an agile mindset would help. Individuals and interactions over AI. That's number one. If you're not putting the individuals and the interactions and their learning and their development over AI, you're just dead in the water. Just forget it. Just go home or just go sell
Phill,
the company.
Do you feel or do you think project managers should own the source code within AI?
Owning the source code could be looked at as a conflict of interest in some way, but I don't think there's anything wrong in it. It's like bring your own AI, you know? So as long as they're behaving ethically, it's not a problem. But if they're not being ethical, then you got to think about where is the wormhole for all that information they're putting into their AI. It's now alive in their AI. How does a company view that? It's like today when you're using Microsoft Project, it's usually on the server in the firm, you know, or even if you got a local one, you got Microsoft Project, but still the company feels a way about you having their information. I think in the evolution of things, Darrell, that could be. I know you got you know your own little AIs in the basement, but I think as far as the source code, it's highly debatable.
Do you think the source code will only be owned by the three IT tech companies like Google, OpenAI, and Microsoft?
You already know, Darrell, that our friends in China own their own source code today. So what
Mhm.
stops us from owning our source code? Nothing is going to preclude PMs from owning their source code. I feel a lot of companies are going to end up owning their own source code behind their firewall, and it's okay, but a lot of individuals are also going to do the same. And you already know they're doing it, Darrell. They're doing it
Yes,
today.
yes.
You know what, Darrell? I
So,
think it'd be like a licensing agree. It'd be more like a licensing agreement. So if I'm a project manager, I have source code. I may license it to an organization, in a sense, or they could buy it, and maybe I won't be. They could buy me out of that particular source code. So that's a little thought there.
now, digging into the AI source code and everything about AI, what are your thoughts about open source AI and closed source AI? Do you feel or do you think project managers will have a separate type of skill set for both, or it'll just be a hybrid?
They got to do both. It's just like the world of IT today. You know, you got to have both. But I feel that for project managers, if they have their own closed source AI and they're able to function well in that environment and it's thriving, they don't care. They don't care about open source. But you know, the open source people, they're servant leaders in mindset. because you're looking for how things evolve and grow. And those who are in a closed circuit as far as their source code, they're not going to thrive as long as people who are open in mindset. But again, I don't begrudge them because everyone has their own philosophies. Some people see open source as a religion,
Mhm.
and they'll stop at nothing to if they had their way, everything will be open source. So it's perceptual. Great
Awesome.
questions, Darrell. Darrell's been cooking up some questions in the basement. These are new questions, Ed. I've never heard.
Well, there's more. There's more, Phil. There's more, and it's more in alignments with the the new up and coming safe super intelligence that supposedly one of the former OpenAI employees are venturing into. And I'm sure the government is probably doing that too as well, as far as the safe ethics. But it's making me understand how important AI will transform project management, even to the lowest level, all the way to the up to the C-suite level.
Oh yeah,
So it's going to be very interesting to see what will happen in the near future.
it will. But let me add this last thing, Darrell. When you think about project management, that's one way. We have project management, and we have. I hate to make it sound so, and people are going to not like this, but we have a way of doing things as projects, and we have a way of doing things as value. And it's a very different approach. The project managers, they're hyper focused on the technical pieces, little attention to the value. Maybe people in the business have that. In the world of agile, hyper focus on the value, hyper focus on the individuals and interactions, team health, team synergy, team morale. Project management think, agile think, two different worlds. Now, when we bring both together to have a hybrid mix, we may be getting the best of both worlds.
When you talk about value, do you feel that project managers will need to practice their skill in providing more value in regards to, let's say, a simple task like filling out a project management plan or submitting a PMP plan and so forth, using AI to their advantage? Because right now it's automated, so you could honestly ask AI to create you a outline of a project management plan for your company.
Yep.
That pretty much takes away the value of what you provide. How can project managers tackle that or reduce the amount of, I guess, embarrassment when they use AI?
Great question. Honestly, Dow, I give examples in the book. And for those who are watching, I think it will help some of them to go look at the book and how I break everything down from the project charter, the project plans, the reports, all of those things, how to put them together with prompts. Ain't no shame in that game, Darrell. There's no shame in that. A project manager who knows how to prompt engineer to the degree that they can craft the prompt. I got to show another book. People are going to say people are going to say this is an AI fest. I don't care, whatever you want to say. So this book is called AI Basics and the RGB Prompt Engineer Model. I wrote this book to teach people how to prompt. This is what PM should be doing. There's nothing wrong in prompting to get a solid charter, you know. And what I would recommend to project managers is understand the inner workings of the project so you can prompt to get the best output for plans, for charters, or what have you. I don't think it's taken away the value that the PMs are bringing, because what is value? The PMI defines value as the net benefit that a user or customer derives from what is done. So if I've created a charter that, using AI that is very clear, transparent, so good, and let's get off our high horse, people who are still in doubt that, oh, well, you can't do it as well as a human. AI will shock you. AI will do things better than you even thought could be done. So if AI puts together a profound idea based on, watch this, your superior prompt engineering, where's the shame in the game that I prompt engineered and got great output for my customer? There ain't no shame in that. So value is the benefit the customer is deriving. If we understand it like that, value is not how much we do as project managers. Value is not being the only contributor. No, value is offering the benefits, the net benefits. PMI says net quantifiable benefits. But I know sometimes we can't quantify it. So I just say net benefit. And the net benefit is perceptual. But if my customer gets a plan that breaks things down impeccably, such that they are totally aware of where the project is going and what needs to be done like never before, that PM needs a pat on the back, not a shame game to be aimed at them. You get what I'm saying?
Thank you so much, Phil. That really great feedback and really great, session. And thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Darrell. Thanks for the questions. Thank you, Ed, for all your insights. And I'm sure that as time goes on, we'll be seeing more of your PMO, magnetic PMO, and other publications that Darrell has. Darrell has actually got an app out there for earned value. Darrell, you want to talk about that app that's out there?
So I have a app called EVM bot named Adam. Now Adam is derived from the first human that God made with from Adam and Eve. So since EVM has never had a chatbot in that perspective, I decided to name it Adam. So Adam is free to download, open source. Its training data sets are open source documents. So that's the reason why it's free to download, and it's available to download on the Apple App Store at this time.
Great stuff. I'm absolutely blown away and chuffed at what you guys are doing. Keep up the great work. And for those of you who are watching, just be aware that artificial intelligence is a journey. Do not be closed-minded to AI. At the same time, try to elevate your knowledge and your understanding about people interactions, because that will always trump artificial intelligence. You can have the most superior AIs, but if people are not on the same page, all that is nothing. And that's why, I talked about the AI superhero. If you really want to be an AI superhero, focus on the people. Think about the people. Don't think about the output. Think about the people. Think about the outcome that you want as opposed to the output. It's not about saying, oh, I got done with the project charter. No. Does it unify people? Does it share the vision profoundly? Does it put people on the same page? If the answer is yes, keep doing the great stuff you're doing. If the answer is no, focus more on the people. Like the Agile Manifesto said it well. I'll leave us with this. Through this work, we've come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Through this work, we've come to value working product over comprehensive documentation. It is not about the documents that AI can crank out. It's about the outcome, having a working product that adds value and benefits to the business and gets them to their future state, right? Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. If AI is helping you maliciously negotiate, you're wrong. If AI is helping you to be malicious in how you compete, that is unethical. And then responding to change over following a plan. You got to be agile. Agility in mindset, it trumps everything else. When you add that with the ethics we've talked about, I think you'll be on the right track. Thank you, folks.